Welcome all back to Scott's Sporting Corner. So earlier on this week, when it turned the 1st of July, Liverpool officially completed the signing of Jérémy Jacquet after agreeing a deal for the French centre-back back in January. It's a transfer that Liverpool have been waiting for a long time to officially done, as it was a pre-agreement from January, but Liverpool clearly believe they've secured one of the brightest young defenders in Europe. So today we're going to look back at who Jérémy Jacquet is, why Liverpool have invested so little in centre-back positions in recent years, and whether the Reds still need another defender through the door before the transfer window closes. But let's start with Jacquet himself. So Liverpool paid around £60 million to bring the French defender to Anfield. He made his senior debut for Rennes in 2024 and has enjoyed a rapid rise through the ranks following his breakthrough. He joined Clement Foot on loan, where his performances impressed so much the club extended his deal for a second season. However, Ron were pleased with his development and they recalled him midway through that campaign. What's remarkable when you look at Jérémy Jacquet is that he hasn't even played 100 senior appearances in his career yet. I believe he's currently on 99. Despite that, Liverpool clearly see enormous potential in him and have been willing to invest heavily in his future. They weren't the only club interested either. Chelsea were heavily linked with Jérémy Jacquet in January. I believe they placed some formal bids as well, if I remember correctly, top of my head, but it was Liverpool who won the battle to get his signature. But without going over old news, let's have a little look back in time. And the time of the deal is very interesting because Liverpool's long-term interest in centre-backs goes back much further than that, into last summer, after missing out on Mark Guéhi, who literally had on deadline day last summer had a bid accepted. He went to London to have his medical done, but last minute the deal fell through, and he eventually joined Manchester City in January. That same January, Liverpool tried to get a loan deal done for Gertrude from Sunderland, basically to see them over till this summer before they could make another permanent defensive signing. That fell through as well. So Liverpool, they basically went for the next best thing they could do without getting the option to help this season. They thought, right, let's try and future-proof ourselves, and that is when they did the pre-agreement to bring in Jérémy Jacquet. However, the signing does raise some questions about Liverpool's centre-back current options. You've got Jérémy Jacquet, who's 20, Giovanni Lone, who's 19, then you've got a jump to Joe Gomez, who's 29, and Virgil van Dijk, who I believe is 35 later this month. This age profile would have been perfect if Liverpool managed to keep hold of Ibrahima Konate, who perfectly bridges the gap between the young prospects and the experienced leaders. My biggest concern is what happens if Van Dijk misses a significant period of time through injury. Then you've got pairing Jacquet or Leone alongside Van Dijk is one thing, because his experience and leadership can help guide them through games. But if you're asking Jacquet or Leone to start together, or one of them start with Gomez over a long stretch of the season, the defence suddenly looks a lot less secure. And also you've got to remember as well is Leone, obviously he's coming back from an ACL injury. You don't want to put too much pressure on him straight away. But also, Jérémy Jacquet, since he signed the deal to join Liverpool from back in January, I think it was his actual next game that he suffered that shoulder injury at end of this season. So he has been out of the team for that's a good 6, 7 months now. So you've got two young lads coming back who haven't played a lot of football recently. But another interesting point is Liverpool's lack of investment in the centre-back positions over the last 8 years. Since 2017, Liverpool have only signed 5 recognised centre-backs. You've got Virgil van Dijk, Ben Davies, Ibrahima Konate, Leone, and now Jérémy Jacquet. That obviously doesn't include the introduction of Jarell Quansah, who come through the academy, and then when we did get the loan deal done at the time for Ozan Kabak. When you consider how important that position is and how long of a period of time that covers, it's actually a surprisingly small amount of recruitment. For years, Liverpool relied on the Van Dijks, the Joel Matip, the Joe Gomez's, and then later Konate. And then, like I said, when Quansah come into the team, he was deployed a lot in Klopp's last season, not as much in Arne Slot's Premier League winning side. But eventually, age, injuries, and departures catch up with every squad. You could argue Liverpool are now trying to refresh almost an entire centre-back department in the space of a couple of transfer windows because of a lack of consistent investment. For me, Liverpool still need another centre-back, ideally someone who is experienced but still has the best years ahead of them. A player such as Lacroix from Crystal Palace would make a lot of sense. I would also be very interested to see Liverpool bring Quansah back in the future. When I was speaking to Adam from AKM LFC, he made a very good point about Joel Kwanzaa, saying that Liverpool may be better off bringing him. If they're going to bring him back, look at him in the following summer when his buyback clause comes back into play, and that would help out, financially as well, because that is a guaranteed price in there. But that would almost work perfectly, because if you bring in someone like Lacroix now, that would then you've got your centre back, you've got someone who can bridge the gap. But then when Virgil van Dijk, when his contract finishes end of next season, which everybody kind of suspects maybe the time that he does move on, you're then bringing Kwanzaa, who has got another season for a top European team under as well, playing for one of the top leagues in Europe as well. So that is another option Liverpool could go down. Overall, I do like the signing of Jérémy Jacquet. Liverpool's recruitment team, over the years they have earned a very big reputation, and that they've decided he is the right player, even for having a fewer than 100 senior appearances. They've decided to spend £60 million ish on him, so they clearly believe his ceiling is incredibly high. But for me, the job isn't finished yet. Liverpool have had two exciting centre-backs in Jacquet and Leone, but if they want to remain one of the best teams in England and Europe, I still think another defender should arrive before the transfer window closes. So guys, let me know what you think. Is Jacquet enough? Do Liverpool need another centre-back? And if so, who would ideally you'd like them to sign? And thank you all for listening. It's a very short episode of Scott's Sporting Corner podcast. There's not a lot of things to talk about right now, but I thought I'd kind of briefly touch on the centre-back situation Liverpool find themselves in now. So thank you all for listening, guys, and yeah, I will catch you all in the next one.